How many of you believe in freedom of speech? I would think we could all at least believe in the concept that as Americans, it's a valued freedom, the freedom of speech. But are there exceptions? You know, the common example is, can you yell fire in a crowded theater? Is that okay when there is no fire? And legally, the courts have said, no, that is not okay. That's not protected under our freedom of speech rules. When we live in society, when we live not, off in the woods alone somewhere, we have to make choices and compromises that include things like that, where we are prevented from yelling fire in a crowded theater. So now we're in a situation where a very, very powerful media company, social media company, Twitter, and others now, have banned the President of the United States from their site. And I can see, and I was arguing earlier with someone who is a Trumper, that doing so is a slippery slope and that it's wrong of them to have done it. I disagree, but here's why. We have been subject to enormous amounts of misinformation since this orange moron came into his office, came to become president. He has lied, and that's the only way to describe it, intentionally and often. And no one has constrained him in any reasonable way. Not his staff, not objective bystanders, not his opponents, political opponents. Nobody has been able to constrain the man. He has lied with a freedom and a voraciousness that we've never seen before. And we have somehow managed to muddle through. But to what end? So I think that muddling through, instead of being more harsh about the constraints on someone responsible for so many lives in America, has landed us in this place where we are now, where we are facing throngs, many, many millions of people who believe things that are dangerously untrue, and that causes then animosity on a level we haven't seen, causes a confrontation and conflict between such large groups of people that we are distracted from doing better in the world, from being the Americans we once thought we were, from growing as individuals and as a nation in a respectable way that serves us and serves the world. And I think it is all very, very much related to these lies this president has been able and enabled to tell over long periods of time. But now, with Twitter and Facebook and others removing Trump's content from their platform, How have you felt? That breath, that relaxation, that there's that period now where there's no bombardment of nonsense on a constant basis. And it feels good. It feels right. And the idea that we have been for so long subject to such a barrage of nonsense, and so frequently and so harshly, and we've survived, feels good. But there has been damage, no question. And it's that damage that now we've got to work through. So when Twitter does this, when they say you're banned, should we be up in arms, worried about free speech being undermined? I think not. I think it is wrong that it took this long. Twitter is a privately owned company. And these social media companies that have banned the president have done so not lightheartedly, but with lots of thought about the destructiveness of what his choices have done to America and are doing to Americans. And so it's not. I'm convinced it's not a political position that any of these companies is taking. It just isn't. Their constituents are both Republican and Democratic. Both of them. They're Democrats, they're Republicans. The platforms are used by everyone. And so it's risky of them to take this position, but right, I believe. And I want to shout that from the rooftops. The idea that Trump has been shouting fire in a crowded theater, obviously it's an analogy, for so long should have been stopped long ago. They've tried recently to put labels on his tweets that say something to the effect of this or that has not been confirmed. But the absurdity of what he's been saying, the incontrovertibility of the lies, they just are blatantly made up lies that suit him because they rile up this group of people who are following him, has gotten out of hand. When people die as a result of it, something need be done. So I'm thankful, I'm grateful to these platforms for refusing to allow this kind of destructive, blatant lying. And is it a difficult thing to figure out how to determine what is and isn't permissible? Sure. Have we got some more conversation that we should continue to have about this? Absolutely. But in this particular instance, I think it's sad that it took this long for them to block it. If Trump wants a platform to spew this kind of thing, he should build it. He can't because he's incompetent and everything he builds falls apart and is destroyed. But if he wants to, he should try to. It's not our responsibility to continue to facilitate his voice when his voice is as destructive and unsound and unfounded as it happens to be. He's a despicable human being, and I only hope that this, again, idea of what's real and what's true begins to matter more to more and more of you. Let's hope. Thank you, sincerely, for listening to my videos. Please subscribe It's free. And please comment. I really do read your comments, and I do try to respond. If you have any ideas about what more you'd like to see or ways in which you might be interested in partnering, feel free to reach out. Thanks again very much.